Cancer, while I was connecting with your energy, I actually saw the vision of a lone swan swimming on a lake. And while it was swimming, I noticed that there was not a reflection on the surface of the water, and the swan was facing down. So it's almost like you're looking for yourself. Maybe you don't see your beauty, your grace, and maybe you're feeling like other people aren't seeing that either. Because again, the swan was by itself. There weren't other animals or creatures around it. And so it feels like this is kind of a reflective period, but it's also hard to reconnect with yourself during this time. But I do feel like this is something that's shifting. I did pull a couple of oracle cards here as well, which we will dive into. But I do just want to start off this reading by expressing my gratitude for all of you. All of the support you give this channel is what makes it possible. I do have links in the description for all of my services, all of my social media accounts, and I actually am running a flash sale right now. We do have Mercury retrograde, and this weekend we have the Mercury Sun Cazimi. This is actually a really great time to get things done, to maybe elucidate some miscommunications or misunderstandings, and so you can get 20% off all of my services using the code Cazimi through August 3rd. So snag that while you can. Again, there are links in the description of this video where you can find my website. And of course, I appreciate all the support that you give this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. I do plan on rebranding. I know I've been talking about that for a while, but this Mercury retrograde kind of delayed some things. As it does, I'm definitely feeling it myself, but I will probably be going ahead with that very soon. So definitely keep your eye open for me. I'll kind of make this gradual, so you should still be able to find me. But I definitely encourage you to hit that subscribe and bell notification if you have not done so already. That way you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. And again, I just have so much gratitude for all of you. So thank you so much. Now, I do want to get more into this reading, Cancer, because it does feel like there are some really soulful and important themes. I do also know that for a lot of people, swans can represent a partnership because they are monogamous creatures. They do intensely connect when they mate with each other. And so there could be something about a soul connection here. And maybe this is something that feels like there is a bit of a disconnect in right now. Maybe you don't have somebody in your life, or you're feeling like you're just disconnected from someone you are very close to. Now, the oracle cards I pulled are actually really interesting and beautiful because I do have the golden poppy and I also have trout lily. And the message on both of these cards is dream and patience. And when I saw this combination of cards, I actually really smiled because it feels like there's been some kind of dream or goal or vision that you've had for your life that has taken quite some time to come into fruition. And when I see patience, I'm almost getting this in the sense of you have been very patient for this, or there's been something that has been tested for you. Trout lilies are really interesting because it can take anywhere from 4 to 7 years for them to flower. And so it can take many seasons before there is some evident growth or change. Maybe there's even something about this time period for you, quite literally, that could be resonant or kind of reflecting something in your life. So if there's something you've kind of been dealing with for the past 4 to even 7 years, there could be something that is resolving during this time. And it doesn't have to be either. That could just be something that is further confirmation for some of you. Now, poppy being related to dream definitely makes sense because poppy is associated with opium. So kind of this dreamy sort of otherworldly energy. It's very soft, very gentle. And it does sort of remind me of that part of the swan too. I know they can be very territorial and aggressive actually, but this feels like there is a softening of something as well. So there could be something about healing from trauma or recognizing some beauty. And I think it's really important that you recognize your own gifts, your own grace. I really feel like that is something that is going to be key for you right now, because I feel like you're a little bit out of touch with yourself. You're not seeing yourself super clearly. So I'm curious what the tarot has to say, what more guidance and insight it can have. I am going to be shuffling the cards, and as I do this, I just want to give my friendly reminder that these are general readings, meaning not all of the messages that come through are necessarily meant for you. It's up to your own intuition and discernment to figure out what applies to your own life, how it applies, and what should be left behind for somebody else. These are also timeless readings, so even though I may be talking about the astrology, you can just think of that as a reflection of the period of this recording, which is the end of July, beginning of August of 2025. Or it could be something that is just relevant whenever this video finds you. Again, really use your own intuition and discernment here. These timings are very fluid, especially in these YouTube readings. If this just does not resonate, nothing went wrong. It probably wasn't meant for you at this time. But there is also the possibility that this message reached you in order to get to somebody else. So if it feels like you're meant to share this with somebody, regardless of whether or not they have Cancer placements, I really encourage you to do that as well. Ultimately, this is about following your intuition and trusting that inner voice. So I encourage you to really do that as these messages are unfolding. So what are the messages that we have for Cancer? Very interesting. There is the Six of Wands that is coming in the past. And I do actually see the Page of Swords here as well. Now, it's funny that I was talking about recognition in the beginning of this video, because the Six of Wands really does signify a period of being recognized, having some kind of public achievement. But it's interesting that this is coming in the past. And when I see this Page of Swords coming out together, I'm going to be honest, what's really coming to me is that a lot of you might be suffering from gifted child syndrome. Maybe you were very successful or you had very notable gifts at a young age, and it kind of set you up in a false way later in life. There's a lot of kind of memes and conversations on the internet about gifted child syndrome, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, it's like you were a gifted child and you were praised and, kind of made to believe that the world was your oyster. But then you step out into the world and it doesn't receive you. There is almost this burnout that happens for a lot of people. And so this might be something that you are experiencing, especially with the messages that are coming through right now. And I'm already getting themes around validation and maybe over-relying on validation from other people or your environment. That could definitely be coming in as very relevant with the image of that swan not seeing its reflection in the lake. So what else do we have for Cancer? We do have the Magician. So I do feel like you have actually been getting in touch with what you really want here. Maybe you've been manifesting something, envisioning something, making plans. And I mean, the Magician is something that is about taking action, ultimately. So this doesn't have to just be abstract. I do feel like there's been something you've been desiring, something that you've been calling in. And it's almost like you had this success. There was a celebration. You're desiring more things. I'm almost feeling like there's a drop-off. Whoa, the camera just went very dark. Very appropriate for what I was about to say. Where it's like you had the spotlight on you and suddenly everything went dark. And I feel like you're almost like, what the hell? Like, what? It seemed like the path was so clear. Why have I been led astray? And maybe this is from your intuition. Maybe you feel led astray from your spirit guides or spirit team or ancestors. Yeah, there's a burnout here with the Nine of Wands and the Emperor. Okay, what I'm really starting to see here, Cancer, is that you may have had some success and recognition, but it's almost lost intrinsic value, or it has felt empty to you. And that's very interesting. That could be part of this reflection. It's like you're not seeing your success, you're not seeing yourself. You've lost yourself in this success. And that's the thing I was sort of getting with the swan. Like, obviously, it's a beautiful energy, a beautiful animal. It's like the epitome of grace and beauty. But it's like you don't see it. You don't feel it. There's something missing in this picture. And I feel like for a lot of you, with that message of patience and dream, with the oracle cards at the very beginning, you were almost bargaining with what you really want. Maybe some of you are creatives, for example, and you told yourself you were going to write a book. You were going to start working on your art when you reached a certain point in your life. You put conditions around beginning something or going after what you really want or realizing your true dreams. And I think you really focused on material success or kind of the outward sort of signs of success, but something has gone dark or you're burnt out. And I feel like you're kind of needing to ask yourself right now, like, what am I really living for? What do I really want here? What am I working for? What else do we have for Cancer? Interesting. Yeah, I do feel like there is a change or transition that is necessary here with the Two of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. I don't think this is actually going to be an overnight shift, if I can be completely honest with you. Or it's like, it's going to be a transition period for you. And I know people come to these readings kind of wanting that instant gratification. They want things to happen quickly. And I mean, we did get the message of patience at the very beginning here. But I think by deciding that you are changing your life path, there is a relief here. And when I really look at the Queen of Pentacles, I think of someone who's planning ahead. And this is someone who is really looking into the future, making sure that everyone is fed, that everything is taken care of. Whereas the Two of Pentacles is kind of like a juggling. There is a change. There is this balancing act that is going on. And sometimes it feels a little delicate, it feels a little precarious. But here's the thing. When I see the Two of Pentacles, I really do feel like it is within your capability to juggle these things. It's not the Ten of Wands where you're carrying too much. But there is this need to kind of find a balance in a transition, in a change. So I think you are shifting into something different, Cancer. What do we have here? We have the King of Swords and the Queen of Wands. This feels like a very powerful energy that you are stepping into. There's a lot of confidence. I feel like you're understanding your worth on an intrinsic level, even if other people don't see it, or even if you don't see it now. But I do feel like with both of these figures, there is a recognition. You know, this Queen of Wands is like a performer. This King of Swords is speaking out, being very vocal, very active, advocating for something. So I do feel like your voice gets heard. And again, sort of referencing the astrology here, take this for what you will if you're watching this later, but we do have Jupiter and Venus coming together. Excuse me. Interesting that I'm talking about voices and I'm losing my voice. We do have Venus and Jupiter coming together on August 13th. This is arguably the luckiest day of the entire year. There's a lot of growth and expansion and opportunity that could be coming in. And this is happening in your sign. Just a couple of days after this Mercury retrograde ends. And so it feels like whatever this sort of struggle or whatever it is you're kind of balancing at the time of this reading, in about a month from now, or actually in about 2 weeks from now, things are shifting. Things are changing. There is this growth. And it feels like it kind of comes after this struggle, which I kind of feel is happening for you right now with the Nine of Wands. There is a little bit of burnout here. I want to clarify a little more. What is this blessing that is coming for Cancer? Tell me more about this Queen of Wands and King of Swords. I'm actually hearing like self-love, and specifically like a self-love spell or self-love ritual. That could be something that's very powerful around August 13th for you. There is a letting go of something here with death. And this is coming in as a blessing. And so while this may sound strange at first glance, what I really understand with death is that there is something that is ending. And so it feels like there is actually the end of a challenging cycle or challenging period. There is a transformation. And part of this transformation is that you can't go back to the person that you were, to the version of yourself that you were. Something is different. Something has changed. And you are being seen as you really are. Oops, sorry about that. You are being seen as you really are. You're being recognized for the real you, for your higher self, your gifts, your talents, your potential, your purpose. Recognized for your purpose. Maybe even realizing what your purpose is. And that is causing some change in your life. We do have the Six of Swords and the Two of Wands, so there is transition. Maybe some of you are literally moving or moving in a new direction, because I do feel like you are charting the course. You are finding your sense of direction. And that is the blessing. So if you're feeling lost, confused, disoriented right now, I feel like in the next couple of weeks, you are finding this clarity. You are finding this guidance. How can we facilitate this process? How can we facilitate this process? I'm actually hearing animals, so I'm going to pull an animal card to kind of highlight what this is about. How can we facilitate this process? This clarity, this sense of direction, this sense of purpose. And it's like you're remembering your purpose, too. You're remembering this purpose. Is it this? What is the animal energy? We have the nightingale. This is literally what I was talking about. It's finding your voice. I feel like some of you have been afraid to say what you really want. And maybe even tell yourself that, because there could be this fear of failure or feeling vulnerable. But that's just a story that we tell ourselves. And when I really see the nightingale, again, it does sort of remind me of like music, of poetry, of performance. And while this bird may appear kind of ordinary, it has this song that poets, creatives have been speaking of for centuries, probably millennia. The song of the nightingale. And you might not see yourself, your voice, your gifts as valuable, but you do have something. And again, it feels very tied to spirituality or creativity for me. But whatever area of life it is that you find your purpose in, you have a voice that is meant to be shared. And you might be doubting that. So don't doubt your voice, especially if things have taken longer for you than you were expecting, or there's been some kind of delay. I do feel like there is forward movement actually happening very soon for you. Again, it feels like within a couple of weeks. This is sort of the time period we are working with. Anything else for Cancer at this time? I think I'm going to pull one more animal card for you. Anything else for Cancer at this time? Anything for Cancer to embody? Ooh, interesting. The earthworm. You know, this is literally the card that talks about risking embarrassment, speaking up, being exposed, getting your head out of the dirt, so to speak. There is something fertile here. I literally want to read this out from the book because it's talking so directly about everything we are saying, and this just feels like a very nice capstone. So I'm going to read this to you, and I think this will be a really good point to kind of end on, and this will also give you something kind of practicable to do. Here we go. So the earthworm, shy, hesitant, reluctant to share inner vision. We have all felt the waves of the earthworm, or the woes of the earthworm, at some point along the way. The earthworm indicates a newbie or novice working to establish confidence in a new field. Others around you may seem wise and experienced, but it's important to remember they once felt earthworm energy too. This card is a reminder not to be intimidated or lose hope. Mastery takes time, and you're on the right track. Besides, rumor has it that the beginner's mind offers the most valuable insights. When in balance, earnest, intelligent, and valuable. When out of balance, self-conscious, apprehensive. To bring into balance, speak up, and risk embarrassment. So again, there's a lot about voice. I am kind of losing my voice a little bit while doing this reading, so that's sort of interesting. That doesn't always happen, but it does happen weirdly only during the YouTube readings. It doesn't really happen a lot during like personal readings. So I think that is something more about the collective energy. So there's something about finding your voice, and something I'm also feeling like is working through imposter syndrome. Overcoming imposter syndrome. You are not seeing your gifts and your values, and it's like the more you're waiting, the more you hold back, the more you get in your head about it. So share your voice, share your gifts, take the risk. I'm actually really thinking of the expression, take the risk or lose the chance. And I know with my Mars being in Libra, that one feels kind of pointed for me. I get it. I can overthink things. I can waffle on things. Take the chance or lose the opportunity. What is the thing that you are most comfortable doing? And I think we already know the answer at this point, because we know what isn't working. We know what isn't fulfilling you. So this is where I'm leaving off for you, Cancer. Definitely give us that swan emoji if you've made it all the way to the end here. Kind of claim this energy, claim your beauties, recognize your gift. And I do have links in the description, again, for personal readings, distance energy healing sessions. You can book those on my website, and I am offering 20% off all of my services. I do astrology chart readings as well, so if you want to kind of see where this Venus-Jupiter conjunction is giving you a lot of blessings in your life, now is a great time to unpack that. And I will be seeing all of you in the next video. I'm sending lots of love and blessings your way. And again, I appreciate all the support you give this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. Thank you so much, Cancer.